Morning everybody, how are y'all doing today? I'm doing decent myself, as you can see by the gameplay in the background here, some of my friends peer pressured me into trying League of Legends, and let's just say I'm giving it one more chance tomorrow, and if that doesn't go well, then hey, at least I can say I tried. So, just fair warning, this gameplay is going to suck, and yeah, sorry about that. But anyway, today we are going to be taking a look, it's a pretty short video, it's only like 3 minutes long, at a PlayStation fanboy who's trying to say that because he personally does not see the value in Xbox Game Pass, that means that the Xbox Series X as a whole and the entire Xbox ecosystem is not worth it. Because Game Pass doesn't get every single new game that releases day and date, apparently it and Xbox as a whole are just not worth it, and you should just get a PS5 instead. Now, I also should preface this by saying this video is just over a year old. It was released like last July or August, I think, something like that. Sorry, actually it's June, I just checked. So if I don't bring up a point that, might be relevant to this year, that's why, because I'm going to be responding to this video, based on like the knowledge and like games and stuff that were released in 2021. But even though this video was released a year ago, it's still, just as bad as the day it came out. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
Alright, y'all. So there's absolutely no reason to own an Xbox Series X right now. There is absolutely no reason.
Well, I can think of a few things right off the top of my head that would be a reason to own a Series X. First off, quick resume, Game Pass. It's the most powerful console on the market. It's much more readily available than the PlayStation. As long as the game isn't exclusive to another platform, it'll come out on Xbox, and it'll perform the best on Xbox. You'll get the best frame rates, the best graphics, etc. But like I said earlier, Game Pass is definitely the main reason, but I wonder if he'll have a counter to that statement.
And I know you're gonna say, well, it's got the Game Pass.
Damn it.
But check this out. Let's look at Game Pass, right? Let's look at all the Game Pass games. You know what I mean? Let's check it out. Let's see here. Most of these games right here are old 360 games, or look at these games right here. All of these games either I've played before or they're not that good.
Yes, there are a lot of games on Game Pass that are on the older side. There are a lot of Xbox 360 and original Xbox games. But the whole thing about the games being good or not, that's all personal preference. And plus, what's wrong with having old games on a subscription service? It's not like they have a maximum number of games they can have on Game Pass and the old games are taking up too many of those slots. If they can have old games on Game Pass and people like myself who haven't played a lot of the older games, like for example, I played Republic Commando through Game Pass, it's really nice because we get that option. This is like saying that all these subscription services like Paramount Plus and Netflix, Peacock, etc., they should all just get rid of anything that's like more than 2 years old on it. There's plenty of people, I'm betting, that haven't played a lot of those older games on Game Pass, and even if people have played them, who's to say that they don't want to go back and play them again? If you've already played all these games, then that's a you issue. Just because you have played these older games before does not automatically mean that the Xbox Series X just isn't worth it to anyone. And if you saw Game Pass having all these old games and, you were upset about that and you didn't see it was worth it, then why did you buy it?
You know what I mean? So, I guess if you've never played any games in the past, you've never ever have, I think it's pretty good. It's a pretty good deal, I guess. But I bought a new system to play new games. You know what I mean?
And guess what? You can play the new games that come out on your system. Just because an optional subscription service doesn't have new games doesn't mean the console itself doesn't get new games. Like I said earlier, any major third-party game, or not even major third-party game, but any third-party game that isn't going to be exclusive to another platform is going to be on Xbox. And for a lot of games, if you have Game Pass, you'll actually get a discount if you want to buy that game. And Game Pass still gets every single Microsoft first-party title day and date. Now, obviously, that aged very poorly this year, you know, with the whole thing. Microsoft's not putting out any first-party games this year. But at the time this video was made, what did Microsoft release last year? They released Forza, they released Halo, Psychonauts, Flight Sim came out for the Series X and S, and last I checked, all those games released for the first time last year. On top of this, I've said this like 3 times now, but all third-party games that weren't, you know, like paid to be an exclusive to the PlayStation or something also came out on Xbox. Also, can we just appreciate the irony? Because if you guys take a look at the beginning of the video, notice on his Xbox dashboard, remember, this video was uploaded in 2021, all the games on his dashboard, like the most recently played games, are Red Dead Redemption, which at the time was 3 years old, Sniper Elite 4, which was 4 years old at the time, Secret Neighbor, which was also 3 years old at the time, and Jedi Fallen Order, which was 2 years old at the time. For somebody who likes to play all the newest, most recent games, he sure is playing a lot of old games.
Like a lot of these games, like Gears of War, all of these games, they're pretty good, but they were good back in 2008. You know what I mean? I beat these games already, you know what I mean? GTA 5, everybody has that game. You know what I mean? All of these games right here. So,
anybody else catch the fact that he has Madden 19 and Mass Effect Andromeda, which, you know, Mass Effect Andromeda came out in 2017 and Madden 19 came out in 2018? But remember, guys, he doesn't like playing old games. He wants to play all the new stuff. And let's just say, you know, he hasn't touched those games in a while. He's still, you know, most recently played games that at the time were 2, 3, or 4 years old.
I think Game Pass is honestly overrated, you know what I mean? Like I said, if you're a person who's never played any games in the past, or you don't care about any quality games, you just want a system to play games, you know what I mean? Game Pass is good, but you don't need a Series X to do that. You can do it on the old Xbox, you know what I mean?
Bruh, that passive-aggressive roast actually made me physically cringe. He's like, oh yeah, if you don't care about quality games, then yeah, sure, get Game Pass. Like, oh my god, that was so passive-aggressive, it hurt. But I love how he's trying to act like the fact that you can get Game Pass on the older systems is a bad thing. How is it bad that other people have access to Game Pass? And on top of that, I mean, yeah, you don't need a Series X to get Game Pass, but as this dude was scrolling down, notice how a lot of these games have the X and S logo next to them, meaning that they were optimized for the Series X and S, meaning they are going to look and run better on the newer hardware. So yes, you do not need a Series X to get Game Pass, but if you want to play a lot of the games on Game Pass in their best form, at least on the console side of things, you are going to need a Series X. But again, the fact that other people besides people who have a Series X can access Game Pass is nothing but a positive. And spoiler alert, later on in this video, he tries to claim he's not a Sony fanboy. Okay, bud, sure.
There's absolutely no reason to have a Series X right now. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of you guys are gonna say, oh, you're a fanboy, you just like PlayStation better because you're a Sony fanboy. Honestly, I got both Xbox and PlayStation. If I hated Xbox, I wouldn't buy one. You know what I mean?
If you didn't hate Xbox, you wouldn't make this pointless video trying to downplay Game Pass. Also, dude, just because you own an Xbox doesn't mean you're not a PlayStation fanboy. I mean, the amazing Lucas owns an Xbox, and he was the one trying to downplay the biggest technological acquisition in history. The amount of platforms you own does not determine whether or not you are a fanboy. Your mindset does.
I'm just being objective right now. With the PS4, I mean, it lacks some good games too. But at least they got the new Demon Souls remake, they got Returnal and Ratchet and Clank. I mean, granted, those games may not be for everyone, but at least they have some games. There's a reason to get a PS5.
My dude, you just said you're not a PlayStation fanboy, but now you're doing the thing that PlayStation fanboys love to do and say that exclusives are the only thing that matters. Here's a little idea, dude. Why don't we just remove every single third-party game off of the PlayStation, considering, you know, apparently exclusives are the only thing that matters. See how well the console sells after that. Also, obviously, the news about the Activision Blizzard acquisition wasn't out at the time, but if exclusives mattered so much, then how come Sony is afraid of Microsoft owning Activision. Also, if you want to talk about, Microsoft first-party games in the year this video was released, again, Psychonauts, Forza Horizon 5, Flight Sim, and Halo Infinite, which, at launch was actually good. I don't think I really need to explain what happened.
But what are new games on the Xbox Series X? Zero. There are no games to get on the Series X that's exclusive. You know what I mean?
Okay, first of all, dude, if you say you know what I mean one more time, I think my head's gonna explode. Second of all, even if he made this video this year, the year where Microsoft is not releasing a single first-party game, there are still first-party games to get on the Xbox. And again, I hate this mentality of, oh, no exclusives equals bad console. Just because another platform like PC can play Xbox games does not mean that you cannot play those games on Xbox. You can still play the games on your Xbox and you can still enjoy them. It's not like because these games are getting released on the last gen Xboxes and PC, that does not mean that you cannot enjoy them. Well, unless you're a PlayStation fanboy, because then if any game is on any platform besides the PS5, then you just cannot have fun with it. And also, if exclusive games mattered so much like you're saying, then why is Sony putting all their games on PC?
So lastly, the Series X is not a bad console per se, you know what I mean? It's probably going to be good eventually, maybe in a couple of years once the games come out. But right now, there's absolutely no reason.
Is this dude not aware that games have been getting released on the Series X and S and you've been able to play them in better forms than the Xbox One? Did this dude just miss that memo or something? Also, I love how he says, oh, it's not a bad console, but it's probably gonna be good eventually. Like, what does that even mean?
To have an Xbox Series X, because you can do the Game Pass on the older Xbox, and I kind of regret selling my old Xbox and getting the new one, because sure, the loading times are a little bit faster, but everything else is the same. I can do the same crap on the older Xbox One X that I had.
Besides better graphics, higher frame rates including up to 120 FPS, certain games that are too big to run on old hardware like Flight Sim, and one of the biggest ones for me personally, Quick Resume. But anyway guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Basically what we learned today is apparently there's no reason to get an Xbox Series X because it doesn't have, exclusives. Who would have guessed? But remember guys, he's not a PlayStation fanboy. But anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will catch you all next time.